Hey everybody, and welcome to the Get Speaking English Coffee and Crossword stream. My name is Axel, and while we wait for the stream to begin, let me quickly explain how this activity works and give you some information that will help you do it. So, during the stream, we will go through a crossword similar to the one you see on the screen right now. I'm going to guide the conversation by letting you know which question will work on when. I'm going to explain the question to you, maybe give you some definitions, and then I'm going to give you additional clues, other information, hints, maybe some images to help you figure out the answer with me. So, when you think you know an answer, go ahead and put it in the chat. You'll be able to participate on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. The addresses are all available on the screen. So don't be shy if you think you know an answer. Put it in the chat, and when I see a correct answer, I will add it on the board and we will fill out the crossword together that way. So before we begin though, there are a few important rules that you should know specifically about this stream so we could all have a good time. So my first major rule is no cheating. So don't use the internet unless I tell you to. So we could Google the answers if we want or use websites. We're not going to do that though. We're going to work together instead. So please do not use the internet unless I tell you to do so. Secondly, please follow the conversation. So for example, if we are talking about question number 3, don't start talking about question 19. Also, too, please be patient. We may take some detours along the way. I love to talk about additional vocabulary, phrases, other things that are related to what's in the crossword. So just please be patient. Try to stay with the group and don't ruin it for others. Finally, please be nice to one another. Like I said, you'll be able to participate on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. But let's create a nice, friendly learning environment where people feel like they can participate without judgment and have a good time. So those are my main rules for playing this game. Now I'm going to give you some additional information specifically about this crossword to help you complete it. So the first useful thing to know is that this is an American crossword. So that means that American spelling and vocabulary is going to be used. So you can see on the screen right now some differences between American and British spelling. There are many others. This is just a small sample of some of the differences. There are also differences in the choice of vocabulary, in some of the phrases, some of the slang is different. So usually this crossword uses American English. It's also worth knowing that any of the trivia is usually about the United States, so about American history, American geography. However, we won't need to know much trivia. Thankfully, the majority of the questions in this crossword are about language, they're about English, so we won't need to know a lot about trivia. It's also really helpful to know that the answers match the questions. So the answers will always use the same type of word and the same word form as the word in the question. So for example, if there is a plural in the question, there will be a plural in the answer. If there's an abbreviation in the question, there will be an abbreviation in the answer. So all of that is extremely helpful. Sometimes you will see me put little S's or EDs in places, and that's just good information for us to know to fill out the board faster. Keep that in mind too when you are answering, that your answer should always use the same type of word and the same word form as the question. Also, multiple word answers are okay in this crossword. So sometimes the answer could be a phrasal verb, maybe part of a common phrase or an idiom, part of a sentence. Some of the longer ones are titles of books, titles of movies. This crossword does not indicate when something is a multiple word answer. However, I am usually quick to spot them. I will let you know if something is a multiple word answer, but do keep in mind when you are thinking about the answers to the questions that multiple word answers are possible. Finally, too, because we are here to review English, we're here to learn new words and vocabulary as well. It's important to know that there are words in this crossword that we can't really use in real life. So some of the words are just archaic, they're outdated, they're old-fashioned. Some of them are very formal or used only in very specific contexts. I will try to let you know if you can't use something, and I'll try to give you an alternative expression instead. I'll also let you know when you could use something in a specific context, but do keep that in mind that there are words in this crossword that even I, as a native English speaker, would never use in real life during a conversation. Anyway, so that's it. Like I said, don't be shy. Go ahead, jump in. The more you participate, the faster this crossword will go. So I do appreciate your help. Also, don't hesitate to ask questions about any of the words we talk about or any of the phrases we discuss. I always love having a good language discussion. So put your questions in the chat. I will try to address them. Finally, if you enjoyed this activity, please give this video a thumbs up. Also consider subscribing to the channel or following my Facebook page so you don't miss any future streams. Also, please tell other people about this stream. The more people we can get out, the better. It grows the community, and it will let me host even more free live streams, free events, and other additional affordable group activities for English learners. So thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate you being here, and I love when you participate. And get ready because we are going to start soon. Hello, hello. I think I'm working. Hopefully, maybe. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are, it is evening here in Canada land. Actually, it's late afternoon. Like late afternoon. But anyways, welcome for coming out. I wasn't able to do this earlier today, so this week, probably next week as well, I'm going to be doing this little stream thing in the afternoon. But on Friday, I should be able to do a normal one. We're doing this crossword. We're doing this crossword today. So, yeah, so just like the little video said, we are going to go through this together. What's going to happen is I am going to direct the conversation. I'm going to let you know which question we are going to work on when. I am going to give you lots of tips, hints, pictures, definitions, all sorts of things to help you figure out the answers right along with me. You think you know what the answer is, you're going to put it in the chat. When I see the answer in the chat, I will put it on the board and we will figure out everything together that way. Welcome, Jacqueline, and hello, Sword, as well. Right, we were talking a little bit. Good luck on your exam tomorrow. I hear it's really early where you are. And Jacqueline, super good to see you. I hope you're doing really well. How is the weather where you guys are? So here it's very nice. Finally feels like summer could happen, which is really exciting. Yeah. Anyways, let's get right to it then. I checked out this crossword. This is actually not today's crossword. Today's crossword was pretty hard. But so we're gonna go back in time a little bit. We're gonna do Monday's crossword. But I think it'll be a better one for us. So I think we should be able to collectively zip through this really, really quickly. And yeah, should be really good. So let's start with number 1 across, our leafy meal. Leafy. All right, you can kind of see the word leaf in there, right? So some sort of meal, something we might eat, a food item. A food item. Made up of, let's say, leafy greens. For example, maybe like lettuce, for example, things like that. Or, there's like a whole bunch of them, like arugula. Show you some arugula while you are thinking about what this is, because I think everybody knows what lettuce is, right? But this is arugula. This sort of like thing here, it's almost like a peppery flavor. Anyways, we're looking for some sort of meal that would have a lot of green stuff. Not just a meal, but a leafy dish, let's say. A salad, exactly. All right, let's put salad in here. Perfect, awesome, great job. Beat it. What do we have here? Maximum amount. Guitar booster. Booster. What does it mean to boost something? Kind of almost make it like bigger or larger in some way. In this case, we are talking about the sound. We're going to boost the sound. To boost the sound means to make it louder, right? So basically, looking for some sort of device, some sort of piece of equipment, starts with an A here, that we would use to make a guitar sound louder. I can't type. Guitar sound louder. You know, you would like see these at maybe like a rock show, for example, something like that. We need one of these in particular for an electric guitar, right? Because you don't really hear an electric guitar unless you have one of these things. So 4 down, by the way, is what we're working on. 4 down, but our guitar booster. Also, too, this is like sort of like a short form, actually, for a much larger, for less, larger, longer word. So you have to do what it is. I gotta get a picture, actually, of one of these things. Help you out. Also, let me know, too, if my mic is too quiet. I am not at home. Everything's a little weird today. But looking for the name of one of these things, one of these guys that you would use to make a guitar sound a lot louder. I'll give you a couple more seconds. A few more seconds. So this thing, this device, let me make sure you can see. Yes, this device is actually called an amp. An amp. And that word is actually short for amplifier. So to amplify something means to make it louder. So you would amplify a sound, make it louder, boost the sound. That's going to be our answer here. All right. So amp. I put that in here. 5 down. Let's do 5 down. Our sweet course. We're talking about courses, probably talking about food. At least in this context, we're going to talk about food. Every part of a meal. Like, for example, like the dish that you eat at the beginning of the meal, then like the main sort of part of the meal, then the part afterwards, where you would have like the sweet stuff. Each of those stages of a meal we might refer to as a course. So we're looking for the name of that final course in the meal. The name of the final course of the meal where you might eat something sweet. So maybe like cake or pie, for example. I was talking to somebody about tiramisu earlier today, another classic thing you might eat at the end of the meal. Dessert, exactly. Dessert is going to be our answer. Fantastic. Really appreciate it. Pop that right on in there. And see what else we can do here. Highway exits. So the highway, a very big main road, right? So sort of like one of the major roads, like a major road that kind of goes from one place to another, right? Or maybe connects like multiple cities and destinations to each other. And they have these exits, right? Where you might like leave that big road, right? And then to maybe like go into the city or whatever like that, right? I'm gonna get you a picture to show you what I mean. So we're basically looking for the name of whatever you would call that. And by the way, this is 13 across. This is 13 across. For the little, those little, okay, here we go. There we can see this picture here. So we have sort of like the big highway, the major road, right? Got like the major road happening here, and then there's sort of like this road that kind of goes off of it, right? And then you would take that road into the city, into the town, or wherever you happen to be going. So we're looking for the name of that that exit, what we might call it. And they're slightly on an incline as well, right? Slightly on an incline as well, right? Similar to a thing that maybe they might also use outside of buildings to help, you know, wheelchairs get in and out of a building, for example. So loops, kind of a good little guess there. Not gonna be loops though. I'll give you a hint. It starts with an R. It starts with an R. Okay. In there. Yeah, we might see these at like buildings as well, kind of like, because also with a sort of a slant. Yeah, I guess they're called this because the little roads tend to be, the roads that come off of the highway also tend to be on a slant as well. Ramps, exactly. They are ramps. So we would also call these exits sometimes ramps as well because they tend to be inclined. So they're not level, but there's a little bit of a slope to them, an incline. Alrighty. Let's see what else we got here. I'll try to stay quiet. um Oh, let's do a little bit of French, because that'll be easy. Looking for a French name for friend. French word, rather, for friend. So 50 across. 3 letters. 15 across. French, the French word. Friend is like what we are looking for. 3 letters. I know we know what it is, I think. Definitely. Exactly. Me. Let's put that in here. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of interesting how many like foreign words show up in the English crossword. But those tend to be words that English speakers would know as well. So let's see if we can here. Maximum amount. So the maximum, sort of the top of basically, yeah, the maximum, the top amount of something you can have. L blank am I. Gee, yeah. Basically, almost like the greatest amount we can get, right? So the maximum amount. Maximum or greatest amount of something. Exactly. Limit. I think it's gonna be limit as well. I agree with you. Limit. Fine. You know, so we're kind of, sometimes we do trivia. I know we're not really focused on trivia here. But a San Antonio landmark. So if you happen to know what that is, do down San Antonio landmark. We can see that there's an A something, A M something in there. So San Antonio is in Texas, by the way, in Texas. If you happen to know what that is, think you know what that is, put it in the chat. And in the meantime, we're going to talk about this one. So if you think you know what that is, put it in there. If not, I will put it in. And let's talk about this one. So beat it. We might say beat it. I don't know if we're actually, I don't know if we're going to actually know like the answer to this question, or but we can talk about it. But you might say beat it though if you want somebody to go away. So you would say this to someone if you want them to go away. So there's sort of a equally sort of slang thing that you might also yell at somebody to make them go away. So we have S something R-A. So we might know this one. I'm guessing this is probably going to be a new one for a lot of people, but sometimes you guys surprise me. So, you know, but something else we might say, if we want someone to get away, and we want them to get away really quickly, usually. Oh, very fast, very quickly. Actually makes me curious what the official definition of this word is. Yes. Basically, oh, apparently we can also, yeah, I guess it's a verb. That means to go away very, very quickly. Yeah, I wasn't thinking because it's like the imperative, right? Like, go away. But yeah, a little verb we might use. I think this is going to be a new one for people, but I'm going to give it like a few more seconds. I'm going to pop it in. So scrap, super close, super close. Yeah, because this one seems like it might need a C, right? That's like very logical. Definitely. Definitely. This word is actually scram. You would yell scram to somebody if you want to get rid of them, or if you want them to go away really quickly. So you'd be like, scram. Yeah. So that's what that one means. So here it is in a sentence. Get out of here. Go on. Scram. So that's what that one is. So spray, another kind of interesting guest there. Welcome, Eric, by the way. Welcome. Oh, Eric, Mary, and Martina. Welcome. This is actually scram. Spray is you would sort of like send water particles particles maybe with like a hose, for example. um Usually like water or something like that. I'm going to show you what it means to spray, what that means. Here we go. We can see this person is spraying water on the grass. So they're using some sort of device or something to basically send a lot of water in a very specific direction with a bit of force. That means to spray something, basically make something wet. Something like that. Anyways, so let's go here. So this one here, the San Antonio landmark is actually the Alamo. And this one, this zone though. Oh, no problem. You're welcome. This weather zone here. I would never say this ever. I thought maybe it was gonna be like clima or something. Is it? Oh, maybe. Climb. Yeah, that's interesting. A place where weather is different in a particular way. Anyways, I don't know this word. I don't suggest using it. Obviously, climate, very common word, right? Also about weather, but climb, not so much. Not a very common word. Anyways, let's see what else we can do here. Knight's title and tick off and Noah's boat. Yeah, Fort Alamo, exactly. Yeah, the Alamo. Yeah, let's do this one, the title. A title, something that you would call somebody, right? So other examples of titles, right? Maybe like Mr. That's a title, right? Or like, Mrs., Miss, Doctor, also a title, right? So looking for a title that we might use maybe in medieval times, because we are talking about a knight. We're not sure what a knight is. One of those guys all dressed up in armor that would maybe defend a king or a queen. Here's a knight in shining armor, I would say. Knight in shining armor. Sir, exactly. Let's pop sir in there. Thank you so much. Super appreciate it. Knight in shining armor. Shining armor. Exactly. So, alright. So yeah, sir we might use. And of course too, we could just use sir these days as well. Just to refer to a man. Also a very polite one to use these days. So frightened and antlered animal. Let's do this one here. So frighten, to frighten someone. Hard to explain without actually giving it away, but maybe you would do something, to maybe like startle someone, for example. We're doing 6 down, by the way. Maybe like startle them though. Or kind of shock them in some way, right? So startle someone or shock them. Not like a really good feeling, but we're looking for like a synonym, basically. Something R something to whatever something. Maybe this will be easier to get if I put it in a sentence. Actually, that might be good. So just a second here. Here we go. So if you are brave and courageous, this doesn't happen to you very easily. Our little sentence here. She's very brave. She doesn't, whatever this word is, easily. She doesn't frighten easily. Oops. Scare, exactly. Scare. And I'm going to talk about this just for like a second, because I hear people making errors with this all the time. Because a lot of people say like to have, you know, fear, for example, or something. But we would say, if you are scared, we would say to be afraid, basically. That is how we would phrase this. We don't really say have fear, but we would say to be afraid of something. That is typically how we would talk about being scared in English. So we don't really say to have fear. Anyways, so a little bit of a difference here. Let's do, what's we got here? Barbarian. If we happen to know this one, so another little trivia thing, living across, our movie Barbarian, that starts with the letter C. So if you happen to know what that one is, let me know. And in the meantime, we're going to talk about this one, six across. An antlered animal. So again, if you happen to know 11, and we don't really do trivia, but if you happen to know that one, let me know. And then 6 across. An antlered animal, so something with antlers, those are like the really big horns, basically, kind of, that you might see on a deer, for example, certain kinds of animals. Here are some antlers that came off of here. Not very common to use antler as like a adjective, but obviously they've done it here. But antlers here, usually as a noun, right? Conan, exactly. I'm gonna put Conan in here. Conan the Barbarian. But yeah, a male, a male deer. might have one of these. So I think we are looking for the name of a male deer. The name of a male deer, because they would definitely have antlers, right? The females don't so much. Usually not. But the males get really like big antlers. It starts with an S, obviously. You can see there's an S in there. We might also call a buck as well. Obviously, buck doesn't fit here because this one starts with an S. But another name for a male deer that would also have antlers. Usually a young one, young male deer. A full grown. It ends in a G. I'll give you that. It ends in a G. G in there. Let me give it a couple more seconds. A few more seconds, and I'm gonna pop it in there. Antlered animal. So our antlered animal, our male deer, is gonna be a stag. A stag. So, and actually, you know where else I see this? Where else I see this? So seven down. Yeah. So 7 down is Tom. We will get to it in a second, though. We're going to, just so this is cohesive, and just so we're all on the same page, we're gonna work together. We're not gonna jump ahead and start talking about questions I haven't talked about yet. But we'll get to that though. So I appreciate that, but we'll get to it. But in the meantime, a stag, name of the male deer, and a doe is the female. But I was going to say actually, a stag party is actually a party that men have before they get married. So actually that's another context where we would see this name, a stag party. You know, they have like the big final like celebration as a bachelor right before they get married. Anyways. Right. So 7 down. Tom, our tomcat, right? But again, we're gonna stick together as a group. We're gonna do this together as a group. That is helpful though for 14 across. Looking for a verb that means to blow away. So blow could mean to like, you know, force air onto somebody, right? You could blow out some candles. Or the wind blows, right, as well. But here we mean blow away, we mean to like really like wow somebody, like really impress them. That is what we're looking for here actually. So something something something, basically to whatever this word to someone means, to really impress them. Some sort of word about impressing them. Amaze, exactly. You amaze somebody. And you know, we might say something is amazing. So something that impresses you, really wows you, blows you away would be amazing. And you would be amazed by that thing. Exactly. Anyways, perfect. Moving right along. No idea what that one is. Let's see. What do we got here? Acquire. Acquire. So to acquire something, you find it and possess it. Hard to get it without saying the actual without saying the answer. But 3 words here, so like a verb, right? That yeah, means to like to acquire something, or basically to, you know, find and then possess something, so it is yours. Get, exactly. Get, to get something. And get is great because it has all sorts of idiomatic uses, right? What did I do here? Second, I'm fixing my things. Okay. But yeah, get has all sorts of fantastic idiomatic uses, right? There you go. Get. You get something, buy something, acquire something. You could get somewhere, so you could go there, be there, like arrive somewhere. You could get something, understand it. All sorts of great meanings of get. Anyways, let's see. Oh, we've done this before in a crossword. I think we could do it again really quickly. Ask the type. What is this? These are like the acid sort of part of proteins, I think, right? I think. So these types of acids, I think, make up proteins or something, right? I need to double check. With organic compounds that contain both. Anyway, yeah, it's amino. Exactly. Yeah, they are building blocks of protein. Exactly. Anyways, amino. Thank you. Put that in there. Oh, we're not gonna get this one. Oven feature. Oven feature. So the feature, like something sort of that makes something special, right? Or unique, or maybe identifiable, right? A feature. And on an oven, there is like one little device in particular. They also have this on, you know, a microwave, that basically tells you the time, right? Like how long you need to cook something for, basically. This thing helps you keep track of how long you've been cooking something for. Whatever that thing is, there's an I in it. That says 20 subbed across, by the way. A little thing, you need to like set it. My host, it's the one we have one of these on the oven, but it's broken, so we always use the one in the microwave. You can also get like little standalone ones as well, and I mean like standalone as in does not attach to any other device as well. You know, maybe like these guys. There you go. A timer, exactly. Let's put timer in there. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And you know, I'm just trying to like get more info here so we can figure out some of the other ones. I don't know though. Let's try this one maybe. Maybe. So there's a couple like common newspaper names. You know, like the Chronicle, for example. Or like Times, for example. You know, like the New York Times or the London Times. Indian Times. Chronicle, another one. Got that right. There we go. But yeah, looking for another one. Gazette, exactly. Gazette, another common, super classic newspaper name. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Gosh, I don't know what this one is. I think we could get this though, maybe. Possibly. Now that we have two letters, I think we can figure this one out. So so 23 across, deck worker, right? Something T, something. You find a deck on a ship. So this person works on a ship. Right? And you might hear people with various rankings. So you know how there's like the captain, and then there's people that work under them. Like there's sort of a hierarchy of people that work on a ship, right? And this person maybe works on the deck or something like that. But there's somebody with a ranking that is like, maybe like the first, whatever this word is. And then there's like a second, whatever this word is as well. I'm just like trying to see like what exactly this person, like a rank. So this person is apparently just below the captain. So they're basically second in command. So just under the captain. Yeah. So, you think you might know? Let me know. I gotta give it a couple more seconds. Else this might be due. Yeah, apparently these people, I was just like reading really quickly. This person is responsible for basically overseeing everybody who works on the deck. So that's why they are a deck worker. First mate, exactly, mate. Let's put that in here. Oh, awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah. And then finally, this one here, this lower one. I've been kind of avoiding this one. Because this isn't a very common word. Not a super common word that we would use, really. But it shows up in a couple different, like, words that we might know. In a country I can think of. So this literally means lower. N-E-T something E-R means lower. But there is a country where, actually I just have to double check. I'm gonna say there's like a sort of like a country that's sort of like lower than everything else, right? The Netherlands, yeah, exactly, it's nether, which is basically almost like lower land or whatever, right? Because it's sort of below sea level. The nether, exactly. The nether, yeah, let's put that in here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And let's see if we can get this one now. Maybe this nature personified. So if you if something is personified, you basically sort of almost like interpret it into a person or something. So we're looking for kind of like a character, like a classical character, I guess, that would represent nature or something. So, M-O-T something, E something. 2 words in here. E-A something. T H, Mother Earth, exactly. Nice. Let's pop that in here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. What else can we do here? All right. Oh, I think we could get this one now. So severe, something that is severe, very like hard, maybe painful, for example. Right. Or maybe really mean. I would almost feel like this synonym here, 20 down. Somebody who is whatever this word is, it's almost like they're very like mean, very strict, right? I'm gonna say, like, if it was a person, harsh. Exactly. So we might say there's something else that's very severe, very harsh, right? Exactly. Okay. Alrighty. Beautiful. And finally, Noah's boat. So biblical mythology. 22 crossed. AR. The big wooden boat, right? The big wooden ship that Noah built, apparently. We're unsure what that one is, because I know we don't really do trivia as well. We also have kind of an interesting synonym for to tick off someone, basically to make somebody mad, make somebody angry. So 17 down. So tick someone off. If you tick off someone, you make them very mad. So arc, exactly. So we have arc there with a K. Exactly. And then irk. You irk somebody. You annoy them. You kind of make them mad. So to irk someone means to make them mad. Perfect. Nice, nice, nice. We're so on it today. So that's really great. I really like it when we are on it. Oh. This one here, so I know that this clue, so 24 across, this clue, if you're isolated, you are very alone, you are separated from everybody else, right? So we're looking for, yeah, maybe like sort of other sort of distance, adjective, apart. Nice, exactly, yes. You're apart, maybe from something or someone, you are isolated, far away from them. And that should help us with this one here. 25 down. If you are a trailblazer, it's trailblazer. You can kind of see the word trail in here. Trail, right? Basically is a path, right? Basically. But if you're a trailblazer, you're basically the first person to do something, kind of, and then you make it so other people can do the same thing behind you, right? So you kind of make the trail, right? You make the trail that makes it possible for other people to come behind you. So if you were the first person to do something, you are whatever, like if you were the leader, you are whatever this word is. The first person to do something. Ahead of everybody else, basically. To lead the way. Pioneer. Exactly. Pioneer. And we could also use that too as a verb. Not as common, but you could definitely pioneer something. They pioneered to create the first, I don't know, something, something, something. But usually we use it as a noun. Exactly. And trailblazer is also great as well. Trailblazer. First person to do something. I think we could do this. Looking for the name of like a little metal container that you might keep something in. Usually little metal boxes. I could think like these days it might be you would put fish in them. T-I something S. Little metal boxes that, you know, these days are used to hold fish. You know, like little containers of like sardines and stuff like that, right? Maybe. That's what I can think of. Anyways, there's a specific sort of name for that little metal box. And also, too, just because I wanted to make sure you guys know what I'm thinking of. What are these guys? Exactly, a tin. So this is a tin of sardines. Tins are little metal boxes. Perfect. Exactly. All right. So we got our tin of sardines. Or there's other ones too. Here they smell like mackerel and herring. All sorts of different things in tins. Anyways, what else we got here? Oh, this should be easy. 35 across. 35 across our count start. So if you're counting, right, you're like, it's a number thing, right? So we're looking for, I think, a number we might use if we were to start counting. One, exactly. Well, let's pop that in here. Da, da. Nice. Which I think should. Oh no, let's do this one. Let's do this one first. Yeah. 38 across. 38 across. And we can still. Yeah, we can all see this. 38 across. Sight or smell are examples of this. Sight and smell are an example, are like two of these. We have 5 of them, right? People have 5 of these. But smell or sight are an example of these. We have 5 of them, basically. So like smell, sight, taste, another example, right? Touch, right? The ability to hear. I think that's all 5 of them is a sense. These are sense, the 5 senses. So awesome. 5 senses. Sense. Perfect. Perfect. And now I think that we have enough information. We should be able to do this one. So 24 down. Maximally. So something to do with like the maximum of something. Maximally, you can see it's like an adverb here. But basically another phrase, like another adverbial phrase, basically. 2 words. Something S-T, like another phrase that means, you know, at maximum, basically. Basically. Something like that. Some sort of phrase that we would use to indicate that it's like the maximum amount it could be. or maximally they have here. I wouldn't really use the word maximally in if I'm talking, you know, at maximum or whatever this is. Like the biggest amount it could be. At most. Exactly. Most. Right. Yeah, you know. You know, it should take me at most 3 hours to drive there. Something like that. Or it might take me 3 hours maximum to drive there. All right. They were so on it, which is really great. What else we got here? Oh, I know what this one is. But let's see if we get this one. Usually a reception is usually a party, right? A party, but also a reception. The reception desk, for example, is usually a place where maybe guests are, you know, received or something if they have an appointment or something like that, right? But here reception actually refers to, we're talking about TV or radio. Basically how good the signal is. Okay, so if you have good reception, that means that the signal is really strong. The quality of like the TV or the radio signals are really strong, as opposed if there's like weak reception. I guess we could talk about reception too if we're talking about cell phones, right? Like, or just phones, right? So sometimes you have a really good connection, you can have a really good call. Other times the reception is really bad, so maybe you can't hear them really good. And then yeah, there's like this aid, an antenna. So close, antenna. With a at the end there, but an antenna. Yeah, exactly. The little rabbit ears, whatever, on old school TVs. Or maybe like old cell phones. Yeah, basically. Exactly. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good job. Junior to senior. Junior is usually, well, obviously senior, somebody older, right? Yeah, sometimes you'll see these sort of ranks at, you know, in an office, for example. You'll have like junior developers, people who are really new at developing, senior developers, people who've been doing it for a really long time. They've been there for a while. But here we're talking about people. We're talking about males. And senior could be maybe like a father. It's going to be a son. Exactly. Junior is going to be the son. Awesome, awesome. Yeah. So let's put son in here. Oh, we're gonna get this one. I don't get this one either. So let's talk about tirades then. If you go on a tirade, you just like start like talking about everything, how like everything is wrong, and you start like kind of talking really quickly about something. So we're basically looking for another word we might use, basically maybe to like write or speak or shout, sort of very like in a very angry, kind of uncontrolled way, basically. So RAN, something to shout or be like speak in a very loud, uncontrolled way, often because you were upset or maybe angry. Or you could also talk about things that don't really make sense, but I think you go on a tirade, yeah. If you're on a tirade in particular, you're very angry about something. So if you go on a tirade, yeah, basically give a very long angry speech expressing strong disapproval. So similarly, we're looking for another word about, like, speaking angrily about things that you're not really happy about. Something like that. I'm gonna give it a couple more seconds, and then I'm gonna pop it in. So you might rant about something if you are extremely upset as well. So if you're very angry, maybe you have a lot of things to say, so disappointed, upset about the world, you might rant and rave. Two that go together. You know, he's ranting and raving about something. Little collocation there. Pair of words. And let's do this one quickly. 42 across. Choir member, choir, bunch of people get together, they sing, right? And then the different voices have different, there's different ranges of voices, right? So you have the people that are sing maybe very high, right? So like the altos, for example, the sopranos. This person has a very low voice. T-E-N-O something. Person who sings with a very low voice, very low range. And we could also use that for other instruments as well. The tenor, exactly. Yeah, any tenor instruments, they have a very low range. Range is the word we would say to refer to sort of like the lowest note to the highest note and everything in between. Tenor. Perfect. Awesome. Light brown color. 29 across. Very light brown. Yeah, name of a color. That's very light brown. I was kind of talking about this similar color the other day. Here, it is very common for apartments to be painted sort of a light brown color. This is also the color, maybe if you have light skin, maybe you spend too much time in the sun and then your skin gets a little bit darker. We also use the same word to talk about that. So you can see that it ends in an N. It ends in an N. So color that's very sort of light brown here. We also use this word to refer to the color, to when your skin gets a bit darker from spending time in the sun. Tan. Exactly. So tan is sort of, I guess this kind of a color. Here is some other sort of tan type colors. And then also you might get a sun tan as well, with like that darkened sort of brown color. Okay, anyways. What else? I think this is a Spanish one. Uno plus duo. Is it? Oh no, is this a French one? No. Maybe? I think this this word is something for. 3. Is it? Yeah. Trey. Yeah, I think so too. Is this French? Is it? Oh, is it Italian? Yeah, I guess so. All right. What else we got here? Marks of ballot. So I know what this is, but I don't like this answer. Or how they wrote it. Because when you go, so a ballot, you cast a ballot if you're voting, right? You say to cast a ballot, to vote, right? Cast a ballot means to like vote, basically, right? And if you mark on your ballot, you usually make a very specific type of mark, right? So the type of mark you make when you vote, basically. So not, I know the E is like, I hate this answer. I'm gonna put this S in here because they're treating it like a verb. I don't like this one. But we're looking for basically like the name of like the mark that you would make. You know, I guess you would make a check mark maybe in some places, or maybe you like color in the little box, but I think it's more like they have like the 2 lines that kind of cross. Anyways, I think they want, I don't like this, like, because you make an X, right? Anyways, X's marks the ballot, X's the ballot. So I don't know, I don't like it. But this one here, 31 down. 31 down. To use as force. So another a verb that we might use. We use this a lot for like talking about energy, maybe. How much energy or effort it takes to do something. So, for example, to exert energy basically means to use a lot of energy, right? And kind of put a lot of effort into doing that, using the energy. Anyways, we're looking for a verb here. How we might use. And I'm just gonna check quickly too. This is a couple collocations. This was in the crossword the other day. I think we talked about it. Exert! Exactly. You would exert energy, you could like exert your influence over something. You could exert yourself, just put in a lot of physical effort. Anyways, exert. Yes. What else we got here? If you mend something, to mend something means to repair it. So we're looking for a repairing word, a verb, another verb. To mend. So for example, maybe you have some socks, they have a hole in it, you might mend it, you might sew the hole up, you repair it that way. So we're looking for another verb. Fix. Exactly. You would fix them. You would fix things to repair them. What else do we have here? Yeah, let's do this one maybe. This is like a phrase that you'll hear. So if you were no longer a minor here refers to somebody who's not an adult. So a minor when we're talking about people is someone who is not yet an adult. So they are not considered an adult. They are maybe like a child or like a preteen, teenager, something like that. And then usually people, depending on the country, you know, 18, you're considered an adult, or 21, you're considered an adult. There's a phrase that we use when somebody finally reaches the correct age. So a phrase we use when someone is at the correct age to be considered an adult. Correct age to be considered an adult. Yeah. So some sort of phrase we would say. And we would say, yeah, to be whatever this is. We might talk about this. We might use this phrase. Would come up maybe talking about drinking, for example, or smoking, maybe driving. Something like that. You're basically you have like the correct. You've been on this planet long enough to do certain things. Basically, what we're saying. You've reached the correct number of years of age. Exactly. Let's put that in here. Awesome. Alright. We're almost done. Yay. Deductive thinking. If you deduce deduct something. You can always see the word, you know, similar words here like detect, deduct. If you deduce something, you kind of, deduce something. You basically use your mind, common sense maybe, to figure something else. So there's one word in particular, if you are a type of person that, you know, uses a lot of reasoning, right? Yeah, if you use, you know, whatever this word is, you use maybe reasoning to decide something. Logic. Thank you. Getting tired. It's funny, in the morning I'm sometimes too tired to explain these things, and now I'm just like, oh, it's the end of my day. Logic. Yes, if you are a logical thinker, logical person, you use reasoning, facts, figures, that sort of thing, knowledge to make your decisions, as opposed to being illogical. Maybe somebody who doesn't think in that way, doesn't use their brain. Really, Zeus or Apollo are examples of whatever this is. Zeus or Apollo. That's 41 down. 41 down. They are examples of whatever this is. Something. They are gods. Exactly. Gods. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Oh, we're not gonna get this. Whatever, get this one though. It's just a type of stone that's got these pretty little bands of color all through it. I'm gonna show you a picture. Really pretty. You might know this one. But we're looking for the name of this stone. This is 40 across. Wow. God. Something. This mineral, basically. Agate. Yeah, actually, let me just double check my pronunciation of that. I'm pretty sure I was right. Yeah, agate. Agate. This very pretty gem. Well, it's not a gem, but this mineral. Agate. Alright, and what else do we got here? This was spots. Okay, the end of this is gonna be silly. Peaceful protest. A peaceful protest. I guess when, well, obviously you would protest, you would basically do something, to speak out maybe against some sort of injustice or something that you don't like, right? That is a protest. We're looking for a peaceful one, right? As opposed to maybe, you know, marching in the street, because sometimes people will take to the streets to protest something. So this is a protest. Which is actually interesting, to protest something as a verb. Accent here on the back here, basically, to participate in a protest, the noun, right? Accent here on the front, protest. Anyways, a sit-in. Exactly. Thank you. We're so close. All right. The suits. Suits. We're talking about clothing here. We're talking about clothing, and I think we are talking about, like, a suit is kind of a very nice article of clothing you might wear in business, for example, right? So basically, talking about business people, I think that would do a very classic business look, right? And these are kind of like, it's kind of an informal way, I think, to think of the people who are at the top of an organization, at the top of a company, basically the leaders of a company. Basically, this 34 down. E. X, E, C, basically the leaders, or top people who run company, basically. They would be the suits, right? And this word, this answer here, this is sort of like the short form for sort of a longer word for this. So if it was like the full word, it would be, I don't know if I want to type it. I'll give it a second and I'll type it. Maybe I'll do that. There's an S here. There's also an S here, actually, because it's the plural and the plural. And there we go. Anyways, the top people. So close. Yeah, so super close. So the executives. those are the people at the top, exactly, the executives, the executive director, for example. There it is, just like us one, or I'm an executive, and we would just call them an exec. The execs are at the top of the organization. We're so close to being done. Fantastic. To be honest, I don't even know. But here, let's do this one here. Rhyme writer. This is like a kid storybook thing. Jeez. I don't even know how to explain. It is a character that originated in children's fiction. Used in a lot of nursery rhymes. So I don't know if we're gonna get this. Mother something OOS. Maybe now though that I've written it this way, you might even just be able to guess what this is. Mother something. It is a bird. I'll let you know. Goose. Ugly. Mother goose. For some reason. And then finally, site of suburban bargains. I think that we can kind of have an educated guess about what this one is as well. TAG. New word. SAL. Something. A bargain. Basically, when you buy something at a really good price, right? So something, some sort of place you might buy something at maybe like lower prices. A lower price than usual. Something like that. Tag sale, exactly. Thank you. All right, I think we got it. I think we did it. Awesome. Well, great job, everybody. Big round of applause. Really appreciate it. Yeah. So awesome job. Really appreciate you coming out. Be sure to, like this, share this to your favorite English learning group. Spread the word, because I love when we have new players. It was really good to see you today, Erica, Mary, and Martina. Welcome. Also, Jacqueline, great to have you back. Sword as well. Hope your exam goes well tomorrow. I'm gonna be back on Friday at this normal time. Might be slightly a little bit late, but I should be back at the normal time. So that is 1300 UTC. We're gonna do that Friday. No, I'm coming back Friday. Did I say Friday? Anyways, Friday. I'm coming back 1300 UTC. Also too, if you are interested in working with me more directly, you can more than welcome to get in touch about the conversational classes and the lessons that I do. Feel free to send me an email here, getspeakingenglish@gmail.com, or contact me on Telegram, Axel_of_getspeakingenglish on Telegram. That is the best way to get in touch with me. And I'm having classes specific about the article I looked at over the weekend about the 1 cent paycheck. So if you're looking to get speaking about that, just send me a message, say that in your message, and I will let you know more about how we can do that together. Okay, anyways, I hope you guys all have a really fantastic afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are. I will see you guys on Friday. All right. Take care, guys.
Oh, tomorrow.